Well, from the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, where you can have my insights delivered right to your email inbox twice a day, and it's absolutely free, where you still won't find riots, but you might some of that wrong think available that Democrats aren't so fond of. Hey, let's take another look back at a momentous week that truly was. Well, it was a shameful day in American history when protesters descended on the U.S. Capitol Wednesday, breaking in, vandalizing the People's House, and engaging in violence that left a total of 5 people dead and many others, including Capitol Police, injured. President Trump, by way of Twitter, told his supporters to go home. But no reaction to the violence is complete without a total, vociferous condemnation. Now, most of us on the right side of the aisle condemn the awful violence coming from the Democrat side this summer when their party and the media, but I repeat myself, failed to ever condemn it. Cities burned, countless Trump supporters were assaulted, and the media called Black Lives Matter riots and Antifa protests mostly peaceful. Many Americans are living in separate realities now, supporting violence they agree with while condemning only the violence that comes from those who hold different beliefs. So let's be clear about both. It is equally wrong, no matter who's doing it. The temperature in this country is white hot at the moment. Let's all commit to turning it down, because America is better than this. In other news this week, yes, there was some other news. Democrats retook the Senate majority, winning both Senate seats in Georgia after some of the most expensive campaigns in Senate history. And now it's entirely possible that the most powerful and influential person in Congress could become West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, a moderate Democrat who's already announced that he will not support any radical remaking of America proposals. Well, if so, he might have the power to save America from socialism and regressivism by one vote. Now the senator has caved before, and you can imagine the intense pressure from political bribery and arm twisting to threats against his family that he could now face if he dares stand in the way of the radical left's fanatical ambitions. The guardrails, they're off now, and Senator Manchin could be a voice and a vote of reason. We hope he is. Moving on to the Twitterverse, where President Trump's own account was locked this week following Wednesday's riots at the Capitol. The platform is getting even more desolate. Here's what I said this week on Twitter following radio host Kevin McCullough of the Salem Broadcasting Network having been shut out of Twitter for simply quoting something the president had said. My good friend has been yanked for Twitter because he had an opinion that Twitter didn't like. Kevin McCullough is not fringe. Free speech is dead on Twitter, and that's sad. Find him on Parler. It was an outrageous assault on the free speech of Kevin McCullough. Maybe I'm going to have to start calling this segment the Parler-verse. Maybe not a bad idea. But just for fun, let's take a look at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's account, where she describes herself as a mother and a grandmother. Well, what's so significant about that, you may ask? Well, the fact that just this week, Congress decided to go full 1984 and ban common words, terms for familial relationships such as mother, father, daughter, son, sister, and brother. Those words will now be swapped with such terms as parent, child, and sibling. Some poor staffer will need to update the Speaker's Twitter account to reflect this new woke speak. Well, now it's time for some nice and relaxing shame on yous. How about Eric Swalwell again? No, there's no new developments in the case of the Chinese spy Fang Fang, and that's the problem. The California congressman still hasn't addressed this absurdly underreported scandal, and he still sits on the House Intelligence Committee. A blockbuster report in Axios late last month exposed the relationship that Swalwell had with a Chinese national, a known spy. And it happened over a period of years, that is, before she fled the country amid an FBI investigation. And the shame can be spread to the mainstream media as well, who will not hold Swalwell to account, won't ask tough questions that need to be asked, and simply just look the other way. Finally, here's a shout out and a commendation to Vice President Mike Pence, who gave what RedState.com rightly described as, quote, a masterclass in statesmanship, end quote. They gave him this for following the disgraceful riots at the Capitol. Here's how he ended his remarks on Wednesday, and I quote, "May God bless the lost, the injured, and the heroes forged on this day. May God bless all who served here and those who protect this place. And may God bless the United States of America. Let's get back to work," end quote. Finally, if you haven't signed up for my podcast, hey, it's time. The People's Podcast is available exclusively through quakemedia.com/Mike. You will like it, I feel certain. And until next time, these have been the facts of the matter. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.